I'm Jeff Cornwall, and this is the Entrepreneurial Mind. Today my guest is Vic Gatto with Solidus. He's here to talk about two exciting projects, one that's about to happen on Thursday and one that's a new project that's going to be unfolding over the next several months. We'll be back to talk with Vic after this message from our sponsor.
If you want to feel the wind blowing through your hair and see the great city of Nashville at the same time, check out Nashville Scooter Tours. Trekking through the downtown streets to Music Row with Nashville Scooter Tours is safe, eco-friendly, and a whole lot of fun. They use Xenon electric scooters that go 55 miles on a single charge. Find out more by calling 615-290-5563 or book your reservation today at NashvilleScooterTours.com.
Welcome back to the Entrepreneurial Mind. I'm here with Vic Gatto. Vic, we've had several years of good run with Jumpstart Foundry, and I understand now you've got sort of a new twist on this whole model of this intensive incubation kind of a model. And talk a little bit about Jumpworks that you're going to be spinning out.
Sure. Well, as you know, Jeff, you were one of the founders. Jumpstart has always been about trying to change the landscape in Nashville and across the Southeast to make it the best place in the world to do a startup. And part of that is teaching entrepreneurs how to accelerate quickly. Part of that is bringing investors to meet those entrepreneurs like Jumpstart's doing Thursday. But I got just thinking about part of that should be connecting with the corporations in the Southeast. And corporations today, starting with the healthcare industry, they have a big need to innovate. They need to create new products, new business models, and yet they don't have a lot of experience successfully doing that.
Yeah, I did a lot of work in this area years ago and did some research and a little bit of consulting, and it was always a challenge to me to kind of figure out where that innovation was going to take place and how to protect it and how to support it, because structures and culture can kind of get in the way of innovation, true innovation as you and I know it in terms of entrepreneurs. So how does your model kind of skirt around some of that?
Well, I think it's pretty well studied, the innovator's dilemma, right? The more successful a product is, the more cash it generates, the more infrastructure it builds around itself, the more sort of protected it becomes.
Right.
And for a big company that's either public or private equity backed, there's a lot of need, probably rightly, around generating earnings this quarter, this year, as you've projected. And so when you think about a new innovation, typically they're very risky. Even if they work, they're going to generate not much in earnings, but they might be impactful 3 years from now, 5 years from now. And so the corporate culture typically doesn't want to send its best and brightest talented people to go do that thing at the expense of the cash cow. And yet that's the dilemma. If you never do a new product, then eventually you become sort of not the best product out there, and some startup sort of takes over the industry. Right,
the disruption that happens in any industry. Now they used to do, back in the day, they used to do Skunkworks, and that was kind of what you're talking about, and that's where they pretty much let people go off and figure out where the resources are and pull some staff together and do it at nights and at weekends and come up with some of these innovations, but you're putting a little more structure into this.
Yeah, well, so I think that's exactly the right line of thinking. We first named this Jumpstart Skunkworks, and it didn't, I'm not the best marketer, it didn't roll off the tongue as well as it may have. So we shortened it all to Jumpworks. And Jumpworks is our attempt to sort of partner with corporations, take the recipe or the way we help entrepreneurs build products and go to market, take that same structure and recipe and partner with our corporate friends about doing this for them. But it needs to be delivered in a slightly different format. The ownership needs to be controlled by the corporate partner.
Right.
But we need to bring entrepreneurs and management talent to bear so that we can offload some of the responsibility from them while gaining the market knowledge, gaining the learnings, gaining the understanding from inside the corporate partner.
So you're not going to have the traditional investor community partners that we've had with Jumpstart, I assume?
No, this is going to be sort of Jumpstart helping a big healthcare company create a new product line.
Are you going to use the mentor model that you've been using with Jumpstart?
Yeah, we'll use the mentor model. We're going to use the sort of entrepreneurs that come in. But the entrepreneurs that come in, it's a little different risk-return profile. It's much safer. They have a big corporate partner they're building this with. And so it's more like the surgery center model that's very well known in the healthcare industry.
Right.
That these entrepreneurs will have 20% ownership, and they'll build in partnership with an HCA, an MDON, a big corporate partner. And I want to be clear, they have not signed up yet. This is just sort of prospects.
Hypothetically.
Yeah, hypothetically.
Right.
And I think entrepreneurs who have a little bit later in life, a little more risk averse, they might like that combination of risk return.
So these could spin back into the corporation. They could potentially spin out.
Yeah. So the corporate partner has 70% ownership.
Okay.
And they could pull it in house and use this entrepreneurial team to be the basis for a new division. They could pull it in house and buy out the team. They could keep it separate as sort of a joint venture they control, but they get to roll up the earnings because they have enough ownership that accounting-wise they can roll up the earnings.
So 70% is owned by the corporate parent, and then the 30% is the team.
Owned by
and
Jumpworks itself
Jumpworks.
and the team.
Yeah,
right.
Very good. And will the mentors also have some small
Yeah,
equity
so the
stake?
same kind of profile as Jumpstart. There'll be mentors that circle the company and help them either with introductions to key people or learnings, try to advance the ball, and they'll be given equity in the company as well.
I assume you've kind of shopped this a little bit and tested the concept a little bit, and you're hearing good response from some
Yeah,
of the...
so we try to, eat our own cooking, so to speak. So we did the sort of market validation, lean startup process with this as well, and had sort of a basic concept that we talked to about 20 healthcare companies about, and they had a lot of feedback. They're very interested in the opportunity, but there were pieces and parts that didn't fit exactly right. So then we've tailored it and tweaked it and pivoted, and now we're going to market with, I think, a much more robust package that has been vetted with the marketplace.
And do you have a team that you've kind of put together to lead this program?
Yeah, well, so I partnered with Michael, who has helped me with Jumpstart. He knows healthcare very well.
Michael Burcham at the center.
And he and I are doing this together. And then we hired a guy named Mitch Evans, who was the lead intern at Jumpstart last year.
Right.
He's graduated from business school now and is working with us full time, kind of building out this model.
That's very exciting.
Yeah, it's exciting. And what I'm excited about, I think we could really impact Nashville and the Southeast and create great products that both are startups that go to Investor Day and get funding and sell for big numbers, but then inside corporations, we can be really impactful to our community as well.
The time I lived out in the RTP area, it sounds a lot like what that became because of that critical mass of innovative companies and entrepreneurs all kind of intermingling together, and it sounds like we're on our way to rebuilding that same model right here.
Yeah, I mean, so Jumpstart opened an office out in the Valley, Silicon Valley.
Right.
And one of the things that I've learned from spending a lot of time out there is there's just a porous community between the big corporations out in the Valley and the little startups.
Right.
And Jumpstart and Jumpworks are trying to do that here in the Southeast, where we have kind of a revolving door. You come through Jumpstart, and then you build a company, and the next time you know there's a mentor that's working on a big corporate project, and that learning is sort of crossing boundaries now that I think will be really impactful.
Fascinating. Now, when does this roll out?
Well, we're starting right now talking to healthcare companies, trying to get people to sign on the dotted line. There's a lot of people that are interested but aren't ready yet.
The corporate sale is a little slower.
The sales process is a little bit slower, more levels of authority for me to get through.
Right.
But I think we're going to have some companies commit in the next 30 days, and we're hoping to start this in January. So the first class will be in
Very exciting.
January.
We're running out of the Entrepreneur Center.
Yeah, we're
again?
running. So Jumpstart has a spot down at the EC year-round now, and we signed a year-round lease in order to facilitate this exact process. So the Jumpstart companies, they graduate Thursday. They'll be able to stay in the facility until Christmas.
Right.
And then they need to move on.
Right.
And hopefully they'll be funded by then and can find space they can pay for.
Right.
And then they'll move out, and we'll allow Jumpworks to move in for the springtime there.
And then those will cycle back into their corporations by the summer when
by
the next cohort.
Jumpstart Foundry, yeah. Right.
Very cool. I'm excited and love to have you back after the first of the year to hear a little bit more about that.
Yeah, we can do an update call. Yeah.
Very good.
Okay.
Thanks, Vic. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Jeff.